Well, folks, we're coming to the end. Still don't like it, but here we are. We are episode 9, The Forecast Manufacturer. September 30th, 2018, written by Doc Hammer. So we find ourselves in New York City, besieged by an unending blizzard. Not natural, of course. The Guild, knowing it's not natural, has tasked the Monarch in 21 with killing a hoarder villain known as the Creep, who they believe stole the Guild weather machine and created it. When they arrive, he forces them to play a game of lawn darts. Who remembers those? For their lives, but is distracted when Rusty and Billy come out of the stolen time machine. This is the same stolen time machine of, which one was it? Herbert Hoover? No, J. Edgar Cleveland. I think it's Cleveland. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's the same one that they were fighting over way back when they had the testicular torsion issues back in, I think, season 1. And then, of course, when Rusty comes out, he and Billy are apparently been doing some time traveling. He calls the Monarch by his real first name, Malcolm. And then, of course, the Creep is then killed when the lawn dart lands on him. So many tragic events have happened in our world. Rusty is tasked by the OSI with destroying the machine. In fact, he gets a call on a special little backpack phone. So he and Billy go out to stop it. Billy, who is wearing a thermal suppository, actually starts stripping his clothes off in the process. Rusty is having him test it. Then they discover that S464 apparently is operating the machine. He explains that he's trying to get McManus, the girl, back. Unable to get in touch with Serena, Hank goes out into the snow where he's playing around and eventually ends up hitting his head, causing concussion on a street light, where he is picked up by Scare Bear, the mute bloodstained bear costume, who carries him to Dean's dorm, where he finds that Serena has been cheating on him, or has now cheated on him with Dean before passing out. Post-credits, we have Dr. Mrs. the Monarch brings McManus to S464, who detains her because he's had his brain reprogrammed. So, sad ending to that little get-together. Like I said, Billy is testing that suppository. A lot of TMI about its insertion. There is a beeping from the panic room. They trace it to the panic room. They help. They try to send help her in as a bomb diffuser. It's an old OSI backpack. It's for Rusty. He's been given a mission. 21, like I said, 21. Dr. Mrs. the Girlfriend, the Monarch, are at a dojo originally, recruiting training new henchmen, but she's there with a mission for them that will get them EAMA leveled up. The Karate Kid, that outfit that 21 is wearing, looks like he's in Cobra Kai, of course. NYC, like we said, is under basically what is a weather machine generated. Hank is concerned, he goes out, and Billy is desperate to be on a team, and Brock's not into this mission, so he gets recruited, and he gets Rusty to do the whole team venture hand high five thing. We learned about the Peril Partnership is actually Canada's version of the Guild. There's a rogue version of them butting into the North American. Dr. Mrs. the Monarch and Dr. Z bring Monarch and 21 onto the boat and tell them about their mission. They're going after the Creep. He has a river island upstate. So they're going up the Hudson River, I'm assuming. They even make a joke about an 8 that can hold 2 asses, assassinate. Because they're trying not to leave a paper trail. In fact, they even make a picture, a portrait of him out chicken nuggets that Dr. Z says they will then have to eat, so there can be no record. The Creep they think the Creep has stolen the machine, and there's this whole thing about how we're not telling you to kill him, but we are. And eventually, Dr. Mr. Monarch gets tired of playing the game, and it's like, no, just kill him already. So Billy, back with Billy and Rusty, they take the X-12, which is basically an Avengers Quinjet. They make it, and then while they're on it, they're talking with Brock, and they make fun of how he says spaghetti. Yeah, I think he says it's spaghetti, or no, I don't even know if I can say it wrong. That's the sad part. And he gets pissed off with them. Hatred is downstairs in the lobby. He's actually reading the book version of The Day After Tomorrow, which this is thematically playing off of a little bit here. Hank goes out to the storm to get Serena. He's convinced that body doubles are everywhere, like body snatchers, like hatred trying to stop him is out of character. Serena not responding to his like 43 messages, all that fun stuff. Back with the Monarch in 21, they find the creep's river base. They sneak in, they infiltrate. They do, like I said, they find the whole confusing doublespeak situation. I also find out that Hank is a Steelers fan because he's referencing throwing to Antonio Brown in his reference when he's throwing on the snowball before he hits his head and gets knocked out. So there's that. Rusty and Billy are above the storm. Billy is burning up and, like I said, stripping his clothes off. They find the machine. There's a purple haze, making Jimi Hendrix references, of course, and it's silver nitrate. At the island layer, there's a dome covering it, protecting it from the snow. When they get inside, they run into the creep riding what appears to be the Monarch's whole glider. In fact, he notes it as well. And of course, Hank, having a concussion, is found by Scare Bear. He even takes Hank for a snack en route to where he's taking him. He says take him home to Serena. That's when he takes him to Dean's dorm. The Monarch in 21 finally reach the dome. They find that the creep has basically like been hoarding all kinds of stuff. They start pointing it out. They're going to play the most dangerous game, which is where the lawn darts come in. They're doing the dive bomb version. The creep reveals that he was formerly known as Mission Creep of the OSI, and apparently he was kicked out after he went really crazy and killed a bunch of Boy Scouts because they were in a uniform. He is nuts. The time-traveling Billy and Rusty show up. It is Grover Cleveland's time machine. I wrote that down. And this is when Monarch calls him, when Rusty calls him Malcolm, and the Dark kills the creep, resolving their situation. Of course, Billy then gets dropped onto the machine because they're going to put the thermal regulator that is in his suppository. So he has to, shall we say, get that out, poop it out, into the machine to stop it. Billy gets covered in the silver nitrate, and this is where he gets all purple. We find out 4S464 is trying to win back whatever her name is, Malcolm, the sniper. Rusty, apparently Rusty got a restraining order for cyber stalking on Facebook. There's this whole discussion there that's just funny and weird about getting girls back, and Rusty admits some things he probably shouldn't. Scare Bear brings him to Dean's dorm room. This is where he sees Serena and Dean together in bed before he passes out, and Dr. Mrs. the Monarch brings McManus to the Guild Command Center underneath, where they detain her. So unfortunately their relationship does not end well, but we persist. So do what the next slide says, like and subscribe and all that fun stuff, and we will move on to our next and last episode of the season, sadly. Now, before I get into this last episode, I want everybody to know that we will be covering the movie The Radiant is the Blood of the Baboon Heart, and I have some final thoughts that I might actually do a separate video about, but we're going to focus this one now on the Saphrax Protocol, which is our final episode of season 7. Like I said, I may save my thoughts about how things end here for a separate video, but let's get into it. Episode 10, Saphrax Protocol, originally aired October 7th, 2018, written by Doc Hammer. Dean is trying now to apologize to a comatose Hank by listing off all the ways he has been a bad brother, and admits that he wants things to go back to the way they were. Hank awakens in a world that's a cross between Empire Strikes Back and the film Barbarella, where the action man apparently is also, because he's also in a coma and says it's purgatory. We find out that his mother's real name, apparently, and this is somebody that there was a whole thing, Bobby St. Simone. I don't know exactly who she is, but I guess should, but she's famous. I'll probably talk about her some more in a minute here at some point. But Phage is also here because he had a teleporter accident. He's in a coma after his cybernetic parts were injured during a teleporter test. Saves them from a wampa. Hank jumps into the Mathamos to escape back into the real world. The Guild uses Rusty's teleporter to break into Vintech Tower to take Rusty to a Meteor Major. They leave behind a squadron of soldiers to subdue Brock, and that does not go well, who he gleefully massacres. The council hosts the Monarch level 10 promotion, what they call a tinning. On Medium Major, where he and 21 put through several tests. 21 is offered a villain role, and the council gives the Monarch a choice to kill Rusty. He's very annoyed by all this. He declares the rituals in he decries the rituals and says they're stupid. 21 joins him, only for the council to reveal that the rejection is the final test and he passes. With Brock threatening to come through the teleporter if they don't send Rusty back, Watch and Ward go fetch him, revealing that through blood testing that Rusty's blood and the Monarch are similar and therefore they are related. Finally have this moment of connection. Post-credit scene, Dean wakes up to learn that Hank has left the hospital, who vanishes in the crowd wearing a Batman mask, saying, "It's my time. It's time I grow up." Doubtful. All right. Now, first of all, we finally find out what the guild is doing with that teleport they stole from Rusty a couple episodes back. And so they've been breaking in. Of course, the phage incident went wrong and mishap, which is where he'll show up later. We have the tinning ritual. When Hank is in his dreams, he is actually dressed as Lando Calrissian. He thinks the Ashen Man, who is there too, is dressed as Chewbacca. They're wondering if he's dead. He thinks heaven is apparently a cross between Star Wars and / Hoth, Empire Strikes Back. The Action Man says, no, it's Barbarella. They're in some sort of purgatory. Now, the guild is having a full-on pageant play for the Saphrax Tevendian and his henchman, who's the first villain to professionally hold a grudge. And Monarch is playing his part. 21 is playing the part of Altheus, the first henchman. And they go through a series of trials, and it's very corny. He has to reach into a log to retrieve something, and there's nothing dangerous inside. It's just poop. They have the bridge keeper played by Dr. Mrs. the Monarch. Something about a magic chicken. She does the you shall not pass like Gandalf. And this is while Watch and Ward are running the data on Rusty's blood. And they find out the things that they're related, finally revealing what we've all kind of already been getting into and understanding. And then they do the whole thing where they promote Henchman 21 to a level 4 villain by Phantom, and the Monarch is not happy about this at all. The weird play continues. Monarch showed Rusty tied up, given a chance to kill him, with a sword, a free kill. Meanwhile, Brock is killing off all these guys back at the base. The Blackout team left behind, he's hunting them. He initiates a lockdown. Hatred, who's not there, he's at the hospital desperately trying to get in to see Hank, but he's not let in but that's where Dean is confessing all the things. Hank and the Action Man, both in the coma, debating the Bobby St. Simone thing gets revealed as their real mom. Apparently, Rusty got a restraining order on her. And the Action Man's kind of trying to warn him off about the thing he's doing with Serena, that you're going to do the same thing. This whole thing, Hank and Action Man, the whole debate about Hoth, they get the hell hanging up in the cave thing scene. When they're saved by Phineas Phage, whose lower body, where he had the robot parts, are now been replaced with an AT-AT. That's fun. Phineas Phage even calls this place Coma Town. Hatred ends up trying to seduce the front desk lady to get back there. That's really sad. Dean has 124 different reasons, the last being of him sleeping with Serena, which he didn't tell him. Meanwhile, Brock killing all the guys in the Temperature Tower at one point calls for a pee break. And this is the best part. He's got one guy strung up and he says, you gonna take a pee break? And he said, okay, you who got training in on me, you're out of bullets. And he clicks. He's like, oh, man, how does he know? He's like, I can count. I've been able to do that since I was 3. Love that line. The Matmos thing comes from the whole Barbarella thing that Action Man thinks they're into. Hank calls it the Force. So Hank gives Phineas Phage an oil can, like in The Wizard of Oz. And Action Man, he treats him like the Scarecrow. I'll miss you most of all. Of course, Brock has been sending these blackout team's bodies back through the teleporter to Medium Major, and Watch and Ward, one of them, he sends a note. And this is where the whole, I'm going to come through if you don't send Rusty back. They go and tell everybody that Rusty and the Monarch are related. The Monarch didn't kill Rusty. Calls the whole ceremony BS. He gets mad at the guild about taking his henchmen away. He quit. Everything gets passed. He passed. He had to reject this. Watching Ward come in to reveal the secret, he yells out, "What the fuck?" And then of course Hank leaves in the Batman mask. Now, there is more I could say about this episode. I'm going to save what will actually be my first viewing of Rating is the Blood of the Baboon Heart, because I know it picks up the storyline about Hank and some of this stuff. So I'm going to withhold my final thoughts until after that. So that will be coming next episode. And then there will very likely be one more episode of this before maybe a final wrap-up thoughts about perhaps probably being, getting cheated out of an 8th season kind of thing. We'll see how I feel. However, after that, so after next week, we will officially be done with Venture Brothers, and we will be moving on to our rewatch of season 1 of Andor. If you have not seen it, you should. I will encourage you to. You can also just check in with me and hear what I have to say about it and make up your mind for yourself. There is all that. In the meantime, if you have not checked it out already, we just got done with the Saoirse Ronan run over on the podcast, Off the Reels with Not Funny Guys. You can write us. You can check out all the information about how to contact us in the description below. We are now starting our run into Rambo series. We just did First Blood. That will be coming out soon. So keep an eye out for that. Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe here. All that fun stuff. And though it may be one of the last times I get to say it, I want to tell everybody be safe. I'll say that again. But for one of the last times I'll get to say this one. Go Team Venture.
Say not funny guys again.
Not funny guys again.
No, can you say not funny guys?